Today we're going to talk to you about Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. Now, everybody knows the standard blue links that we're all used to in search, but the world is changing. Things like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini are totally changing the way that we actually use search. And last month, for the first time ever, agent or AI traffic overtook the traffic generated by humans. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for your brand? And how can you succeed in this world? And in this series of videos, we're going to start looking at exactly how you can not only turn this into your advantage, but you can turn this into profit as well. If you load up any standard Google page these days, you will see that the entire page has changed. You now sit with an AI overview on the top of that page. Now, this really has fundamentally changed how we understand search, because there are some surveys reporting that up to 60% of searches now end without a click at all. So what's the point of optimizing your website if you look at the standard metrics that we have become comfortable with in SEO? A number one link historically used to get you around 15% of the traffic. If an AI overview is in there, that drops down to around 8%. However, if you're in the AI overview and you're also running paid ads, you end up finding that the conversion rate goes well up, because you are being cited as a trusted source, and then you're offering the service right then and there. This means that no longer are we just thinking about search, we're just also thinking about brand. We're also thinking how to make you a trusted source in front of your customers. Now, the other interesting thing about this is the amount of searches has actually gone up by about 25%. This means that actually, although people are clicking less, there is a huge amount of extra information that is being pulled in and people are requesting. So how can you get your brand to be mentioned, and how can you get your brand to be trusted? This is something that we're going to be looking at more and more as we go into this. But the first place that you want to start looking is called GEO, which is Generative Engine Optimization. And Generative Engine Optimization is built off the back of search engine optimization. It isn't an instead of, it is something that is built on the fundamentals of how we have always done SEO. And that is your first step. There is a lot more that you can be doing, and there's a lot more that you should be doing, and that is something that we are going to explore as we go through this video series. At the end of the day, it's better to do it and make sure you are appearing in large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, than not do it at all. And if you are staring down the barrel of the million different things and options that you can take with your marketing, I understand that that's completely confusing. But the one thing that you cannot do is let inertia stop you from doing anything. To say that SEO is dead is, to be quite frank, laughable, because it is the basis of everything that GEO has been built from. The demand for search is higher than ever before. So in January, Google reported that over the past year, it had 6 trillion searches through Google. Now, if we add that into the fact that you also now have ChatGPT, which previously had the largest market share, that is actually only adding on to that, and then also you have Google, Gemini, that are also trying to vie for market share, you actually are looking that we're having far more than 6 trillion searches over a year. The question is, how often is your brand appearing in that? And the best thing to think is that SEO becomes the building blocks, the fundamentals of how you tackle a GEO campaign. Making sure that your website is efficient, making sure that your customers and all your information about you is there on the website is insanely important. But then any SEO that is worth their salt has been telling you for years that you need to use traditional PR to get backlinks for your website. Now, all of a sudden, citations have become more important than ever. If you have an SEO team who has a fundamental understanding of PR, no longer are you just going to have your website as being a single source of truth. You will actually have a plethora of websites that are all corroborating the same facts. So it's no longer about necessarily having backlinks as it was back in the early 2000s, late 90s. What is actually really important is that you can find the information from multiple trusted sources, and that is going to propel you further and further up the rankings. A lot of people come to me and ask, what is generative engine optimization? And it sounds like a very confusing term. We love our acronyms in the digital marketing world, so is this just another fad? No, the answer is there is something fundamentally different here. Generative engine optimization is about being mentioned by ChatGPT, by Google, by Claude. This is fundamentally important because now when a user is trying to research something, they will now go and say, I'm looking for a new set of furniture for my garden. They no longer have to just go on one website, search around the website, spend 5 minutes perusing, then move on to another website, maybe get about 3 sources for the same thing. They can instantly go on and start asking very specific questions about their needs and why they need that garden furniture, which means that all of a sudden they're able to put in things like sizes, they're able to put in styles that they like, they're able to go back and forth and iterate. And this large language model will then keep on giving links and sources and different bits of information to help that user along their guide. So by the time that you've actually finished researching a product, you may have actually even looked at about 500 different websites, or certainly 500 different web pages to get the information they need. Now, if your product is the exact answer for that garden furniture that they should be sat in your customer's garden, you need to be making sure that you are a continual source of reference that keeps coming back time and time again, so that by the time they've made a conclusion on which chair they want to buy or which garden table they want to buy, that you are that answer, and they put your product in their basket in order to check out, and within a week are sitting drinking some nice cocktails around in the garden. So when I'm asked, is there a difference between AEO, which stands for Answer Engine Optimization, or GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, the truth of the matter is there isn't a massive difference there. It's about looking at the same problem through a slightly different lens. So generative engine optimization is more generic. It's making sure that we are covering all the bases to make sure that you're regularly featured within ChatGPT or within Claude. The answer engine optimization fundamentally comes from the angle of looking at how you are in specific answers. It's a much more granular niche version of what you are trying to achieve, and making sure that, for example, when somebody says, what health insurance provider should I use, that you are then regularly appearing in that specific search. The idea behind AEO is to really cluster a lot of content around one particular problem. So if you are very good at solving a problem for a customer, looking at it through an AEO lens is a very useful thing. From a GEO perspective, however, you still need to make sure that the fundamentals of search engine optimization are in place. You need to make sure you've got a good, strong website. You need to make sure all the answers are on your website, and you need to make sure you have other third-party sources citing what it is that you do. The key thing about being featured in an AI overview or by ChatGPT is that you don't necessarily have to be the #1 link for a particular broad subject. This means that you could be much more niche. You could create a video, probably like this one, that doesn't have insane amounts of views, because let's face it, you don't want hundreds of thousands of people looking at this ugly mug every day. But it doesn't mean to say that within this video, we're not answering people's very specific questions. Now, the answer for those very specific questions means there is a huge opportunity for you as a niche brand or somebody with a niche product to be able to actually be referenced when previously a #1 link on Google in an industry such as financial services or insurance may have been impossible against big banks. If you were very, very specifically answering questions, you're going to find that you have a huge boost there. It also means that granularity really matters. We are all experts in various different niches in life. There are going to be things and unusual, weird hobbies that maybe you have personally that you will know more about than almost anybody else on the planet. And your own unique way of looking at things gives you a very unique perspective. And the ability for you to be able to get in front of different people through AI to be able to be the answer to their problems is huge in this regard. One of the things I find very interesting is if you look at the AI overview, there's only a 38% correlation between the people who traditionally rank #1 and whether or not you get featured in the AI overview itself. That is even less when it comes to ChatGPT and even less still when it comes to Perplexity, because every single one of these AI search engines wants something different or finds different ranking factors to give to their customers. So why do you care about that? Well, the interesting thing is there is a massive boost that you will get in organic clicks if you are in an AI overview. And if you mix organic clicks with paid traffic or with paid ads that come over the top, there is a 91% increase in click-through rate. And this comes from making sure that you look after your brand and then you follow that up with performance marketing. And it's something that we hold really dear here at 21 Degrees because it's something that we've had a lot of success for with our clients. When it comes to AI visibility tracking, there are a number of different ways that you can do this. The first and most important thing is that you realize that you cannot see what you cannot measure. That is the foundation stone of any GEO campaign. It's really getting to grips and understanding how you're ranking and how you're appearing in search. Now, Google has been surprisingly slow to react on giving brands access to this. They've only just released data within GA4 to help us start to understand about what traffic and clicks are starting to come through. Previously, you had to add various bits of code to your website and set your Google Analytics up for this. There are also a lot of really good AI visibility tracking softwares out there. Now, these tend to regularly prompt different AI models using AI overview to help you understand what on any particular query you're going to be appearing for. Now, if you don't have this, there is a much more base way that you can do this, and a really nice tip for especially small businesses or solopreneurs that can't potentially spend the best part of $500 to $1,500 a month on advanced AI tracking software. So what can you do? Well, the first and foremost thing is load up ChatGPT on a free plan and just start prompting it and start asking it questions about whether or not your brand should appear in search. So one of the things that I do on a regular basis is I turn around and I say, which digital marketing agency would you recommend in leads? And then I find out and see the list of agencies that it brings back. If we're not on the list, I will then actually specifically ask it why it didn't recommend us. And then I'll go and do the same with Claude, and I'll go do the same with Gemini. And you start to get a very good overview of the things that you need to start doing to improve your website in order to start being included in that conversation. Because if we are not in that recommended list of best agencies to work with, or best agencies for PPC, or best agencies for SEO in leads, why is anybody going to start trusting us to then do their own GEO? Search Engine Journal released a very interesting study last May where they found that 90% of the brands out there have zero AI visibility. Now, that shows that there is a massive opportunity for lots of other brands out there. It was a survey done within the healthcare sector. It's a very limited data set, but it is one that shows you the opportunity that you can bring to the table for your brand. The other tip that I'd like to suggest is that reviews massively play a part in whether or not you're cited. If you have very few customer reviews on Trustpilot or Google reviews, you're going to find that you start to fall back. One of the things that I've been preaching since about the mid-noughties is that reviews on your website have been fundamental to SEO. And again, it shows you that this is one of the core building blocks of SEO that also filters into GEO.